Hello, this is part 2 of my White Tiger tutorial series. In the last video I made the eye that you can see to the right, and now I'm going to make this ear. So I'm starting off with some pastel pencils on Clairefontaine Pastelmat paper. And some of the brands that I'm using for these pencils are Carbothello, Faber Castell, Caran, and then at the end I'm going to make some highlights with the white Nupastel soft pastel stick again. So that's for the really bright highlights. So I'm starting with the Walnut Brown here because it is slightly darker than the colors in my reference photo, and I want to be able to build on that and have highlights at the end that are brighter than this Walnut Brown that I can put on top of it. So I started with that. I'm making sure that all of the strokes that I'm making are in the direction of this fur. Within this reference that I got from wildlifereferencephotos.com for $5, the photographer is Emmanuel Keller. He's awesome. So the colors that I'm seeing in my reference is a little bit of blue to the left, some green at the top, and then pink in the middle of the eye. I'm putting cinnamon and later maybe some light pink tones on top of the brown that I put in the middle there. I'm also going to have some ivory and light grays on top or in those spaces there. I'm not going to touch my white pencil until I've completely layered a bunch of colors everywhere around the ear and then blended it so that I can have nice highlights on top. And right now I've just picked up the black, and I'm very lightly going over a bunch of dark areas, but I'm not pushing hard because this ear is not that dark. So especially near the base there where those where that fluff is coming next to the ear, it's creating a shadow, so I made a lot of black there. And because that area that I'm coloring in green right now is mostly white, that means that I have to use a whole bunch of other colors first so that I can put white on top later. So I'm using my blue and my green and some other light grays to fill in that area, again following the direction of the fur, and then later I will blend that. Around the edges of the ear is almost like this tiger is actually a normal orange tiger instead of a white tiger, so there is a bunch of terracotta that I saw, so I'm putting that there, and then I'm going to go over that with a lighter color, maybe ivory, on top. I'm kind of smoothing everything out with some gray now. The pink and the blue that I put next to each other weren't exactly mixing before, so I put some gray in between them to make that transition softer. Like I said before, I'm covering the whole area before I can blend and then use white on top. So here's my paper blending stump. And I'm blending, make sure you blend in the direction of the fur. You can press quite hard as long as you're not losing your colors that you put, and if you lose them, I guess you can just go over them again. It's not the end of the world. And make sure that your blending stump is clean before you do this so that it doesn't muddle everything up. Okay, so now that I'm done with that, I got out my white pencil. It's in a pencil extender right now because it got quite short, and those pencil extenders are amazing. So anyway, I am using the same kind of motion that I would use for whiskers. I'm pressing hard at the beginning and then just letting it go. I'm not really controlling exactly where it's going, if that makes sense. You can see every fur is like this really fast motion that I'm making so that it looks natural. And not forced, and also it's not straight at all. No lines that I'm making are straight. I'm also trying to vary the lines that I'm making so that they go in different directions. Again, following the direction of the fur, but they still need to vary so that it looks natural. The hairs inside of the ear are much like whiskers, actually. There's a whole bunch of flyaway hairs. They're all white. They cross over each other and crisscross in the middle of the ear. And then right now, as I mentioned before, I'm going over those areas I did in terracotta with ivory and with light yellow ochre. So I highlighted the terracotta with the yellow and the ivory color, and then the grays with white, because that's what I saw in my reference. So I've got my white pencil again, and I'm smoothing things out between the terracotta and ivory and the white. And this is, you know, filling in the middle now with some pinks. This gray is very much like white, except it's warmer, and I thought that would be fitting for the pink section in the middle. If you're not getting clear marks when you're doing this, maybe you've been pressing too hard on the paper, maybe you're not using the same paper, because Clairefontaine Pastelmat paper is amazing and takes probably more layers than any other pastel paper. But if you are using that paper, another thing that you can do is you can start rotating your pencil as you're making the marks. You can see this when I'm doing it sometimes, not right now, but sometimes I do this. As you move your pencil for each stroke, you rotate it and you spin it so that, I don't know, I guess the pencil can just cut through all of the other layers that you've made better. And it also keeps the tip clean and keeps it from dragging through. So now I've got my dark sepia pencil, and I'm going in between the highlights I made with the white. I'm not just like focusing on exactly staying between each highlight and taking forever to do it. I'm randomizing a lot of my strokes, and it works out. I did this to achieve more contrast, which is really important when trying to create realism. This is a Nupastel stick. It's a pastel stick. It is one of the harder ones in all the different brands you can get, and this makes it really bright, and also because of this, I'm able to put it on top of all of the layers of pencil. I could keep going with pencil and still be able to achieve a really bright highlight. So although you could do this section in pencil, I recommend getting one of these pastel sticks if you would like to have the kind of results I'm having right now. It's really good. It's a really good lifesaver in my opinion, because when you run out of layers, you can always grab your pastel sticks and go on top of it and try to save everything when your pencils just won't make any marks anymore. So now I'm making some finishing touches on the outside of the ear with ivory. And ivory is a great off-white as well, along with the grays. It's just a white but very warm. So this color shaper, you can use any other blending tool. You can even use your fingers probably, but what I use it for is just making everything look softer. It blends the colors together in a way that it's not really pushing anything into the paper much. It's just smoothing it out and making it less rough. Now I have a different brand of white pencil. If you can tell, this is Caran white, and this is a softer pastel pencil than the other brand I was using, which was Carbothello. It's like the softest one I know, I think. And they're also more expensive, so you don't need this at all. But I like using this for tiny highlights that I can't quite use the sticks for. but it still shows up like the pastel sticks. It's very soft and can go over a lot of things. So I used this one for the flyaway hairs, which in my opinion are very important because it makes it look fluffy, and that's just such a defining characteristic of an ear. There's so many flyaway hairs that are crossing over. And there you go, that's the ear. I hope you enjoyed this. Please like and subscribe if you did, and comment and tell me what I can, teach you next time or do better. And the next video I'm making will be of the nose of this tiger, and I hope to see you there. Thanks for watching.